Everybody, good afternoon, welcome. Oh my lord. You guys. Oh my lord. We really need the filters to be working, Facebook. This is ridiculous. Oh my god. Oh my god. You know, I'm really quite vain. And not in a destructive fashion. You know, I think it's actually very helpful. Hello, Catherine. I might just turn up my the Wi-Fi is fabulous. Okay, so are we ready? Is it back? Okay, it looks like it's back on. Okay, praise the Lord and all the things. So, yep, I'm vain. I admit it. I don't even care. Well, I do care, quite obviously, but you know, it is just how it is. And I'm having a little bit of a moment, having a bit of a day. So I had considered not going live today because of the red facedness. And I think it's particularly just after I've had my hair done. It goes really white, and even though we're warming it up very slowly, and then therefore my face looks like a beetroot, which is really unfucking believable, just quite frankly. So that's enough about that. You know, I guess the point is it's not just about how we look, right? It's about the message and the importance of what it is that we're sharing. It's really funny. I got caught in looking through some old photos. I don't know if you guys do this. Got caught looking through some old photos yesterday on my phone, actually. I can't remember what I was looking for, but I was going through and, hey, Jeremy, there were some things that I found that I thought were really kind of interesting and stuff that I'd actually forgotten about. So I found some photos of the office that I used to work in. So I thought that I might just take you on a little trip down memory lane. So, and I guess the importance of this is that if you're brand new to business, or if you're newish to business, right? And I'm talking less than 2 years. And I'm talking about whether you might be in this thing for less than 2 years full time, right? Maybe you've got 1 foot in business and 1 foot in work, or however it is that you're juggling it. The thing is that there are interesting things along the way that I really want you to capture. Even if you're well on your way now, I want you to be capturing this type of stuff. So let's rewind all the way back to 2009. Actually, we can go back even further to maybe, oh golly, I could probably find the information. I reckon maybe 2004 when I started my first online business. And this was, I started my first business and I was importing and wholesaling and locally retailing jewelry from overseas. And it was called $10 jewelry, and every piece of jewelry was $10. You know, because it would be weird saying it's like $5 charging you $8. It's just kind of like, what? Like it's supposed to be $5. It doesn't make sense. So everything was $10, and I was wholesaling it in, selling it around the country. I was selling it locally and like wholesaling it as well as retailing it. And I was having a blast. And I decided that I wanted to create a website because I thought, right, this is a way of me being able to make money while I sleep. You know, we all want that at some point or another. And I remember learning how to write, how to edit code. Yeah, so I taught myself how to build my own website. I went to YouTube. I went through all the steps. I learned all of the things, and I'd work for hours and hours and hours. It took me about 2 weeks to really build that first website. And I was just so chuffed. I was so excited. And it was probably after I'd already had the business for a couple of years, because I remember my second daughter being born, which is 2006. And I remember I'd been selling it for a lot longer than that. So I learned how to build my first website in 2006. It was when I was on maternity leave because I was bored. It's a fact. I was bored on maternity leave, and this child of mine was just was just super easy. She wasn't sleeping properly when she hit about 6 months old, 6 weeks old. Something funky happened and went through a little bit, but not like what I know some mothers go through or some families go through with their kids sleeping. But anyway, so I taught myself how to build websites to try and keep me out of trouble and give me something to do while I was on mat leave because I was bored. You know, everybody starts a business when they're on maternity leave, right? And then fast forward further, I had a friend of mine went and did a life coaching course, learned how to be a stylist, and I'd already had this interest in how jewelry, and it was costume jewelry. The way that people would often transform when they wore something that was really beautiful, it would often give them that lift. And I was like, oh, cool, I could totally be a stylist. Style and branding, it's really, I think it's great. I'd created a really strong personal brand through my corporate work. And I thought, you know what, this is something that I could absolutely do. So this is in 2010. So 2010, I trained to be a style and branding coach, and proceeded for about 18 months to not make any money, really. I mean, I was running workshops for like up to $49 a head. Now, up to $49 a head. I was actually running them initially for $27 a head, and I was providing a glass of champagne and nibbles, because I was petrified that people wouldn't just pay $27 to come along and hear me speak for 90 minutes. So I would do that, and then I got really brave one day when I was traveling to Brisbane, and I decided to go right out on the edge and charge $49 a head. It was such a massive leap. I was so freaking scared. I was worried that people weren't going to be in the room. I was worried that I would be doing it essentially for free, or that I'd gone and, booked this travel, booked the venue, and I wouldn't be able to, fill the room and do the work that I really wanted to do. But that ended up working out, and people did give me $49 a head to come along and play. That was a really great learning experience. And from that, it's really where I learned to sell from stage. So in a really low end workshop, the upsell was, I'll come and do, I think it was like a wardrobe makeover or something like that for $111, because numbers were important to me back then, or $199. And then you could have a whole day VIP day. I think it was for $9.97, where we'd shop, we'd wardrobe, we'd do all the things. So from there, I was making little bits of money. And I reckon that maybe I'd have to go back and have a look at my actual numbers, but it was maybe $2 or $3 grand a month at kind of like at the most. Maybe it was more like a couple of grand. I remember making a couple of $1,000s 1 month and just being so excited and overjoyed and overwhelmed that, oh my God, it felt like it was working. But that wasn't enough to sustain me. And not enough to sustain, like I'm leaving my corporate job at, with bonuses and super and everything else like that. It was more than 100 grand. This is going back to 2009, 2010. And so my job, my business had to be able to support or help support our financial commitments at home. And it just wasn't. And so I battled away. I tried different things. I tried doing online stuff. I tried getting clients using Facebook. I've always gotten clients using Facebook, always. And I would put posts up offering discovery sessions or style branding sessions or personal branding sessions, and I'd be on the phone, and it was a consultative approach, and then it would go into a sales call if that was what, that's kind of like how it led. I'd make an offer and they'd buy or not. And I was getting massive strike rates. Like I was closing at about 80% of people who I spoke to. It was really amazing. I'd put posts up and I'd get clients, but it wasn't the volume that I really wanted. And I needed to be making a lot more. I really needed, in quotes, to be doing a good $80,000 a year for me to stay home, not have to have the kids in daycare, or have the kids in daycare some of the time, and this, that, and the other. So it was a real juggle. And so this is, like, you may have seen the photos that I posted up earlier today. It was some photos of my old office. Now, the photos actually look kind of deceiving. I reckon the photos make it look like that space was actually a lot bigger than what it was. So it was like maybe 1.5 meters, maybe like it was less than 2 meters deep. And it was maybe, 3 meters wide. And I had everything everywhere. I was like, I just need to have all of my inspiration close by. I was working ridiculous hours. It was just completely insane. Fast forward through to about February 2012. I'd officially resigned from my job in February 2011. And then, so started this business in 2010, this particular business. And then it came to the point where in February I was like, this is just fucked. My husband was like, when are you going to start making money, Nick? Like, we've got to do something. Things need to start working. Otherwise, you're either going to have to go back to the bank, or you're going to have to go and get a job. And I was like, well, fuck that shit. but I didn't know how to accelerate it, right? Things that I'd been trying and testing weren't working, and I wasn't putting a whole lot of money in, but I was putting a whole lot of effort in. And it got to the point, I remember going away camping with some friends of mine over Easter in 2012, and I built out all of the ideas before I'd left for it was my literal last ditch effort campaign. And I knew it was going to launch on the 24th of April. So we'd come back from camping, and I was like, if this doesn't fucking work, then like I'm actually done. Like I don't have the stamina to keep going and to keep doing this for another fucking 18 months or however long it was going to take. I was just like, this actually has to work. There is no option. It just has to work. And if it doesn't work, then thank you, God, for the sign that this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. And so on the 24th of April, 2012, I launched a brand new Facebook campaign that was, what did I call it? I called it, I'll show you. It was like the seven steps. I've got it on DVD. You guys, you're gonna laugh. Check this shit, right? This is it. This is the DVD that I launched, which is actually not the DVD, sorry. This is a DVD, but I launched a Facebook ads campaign that was a 7-day, that's right, it was a 7-day, 7 days to more clarity, clients, and profits challenge, right? And I'd created all of the videos for it. I'd created all of the emails that sent out the videos. I probably got them somewhere. I should go look. And I later on created a DVD for it. So what I wrote on the back here was, after 12 years in corporate banking, I left to forge my own way, to find myself, to create something that I was proud of and that I could call my own. Along the way, I struggled and battled to make my way through. I know how hard it is to take your business to that famed next level. In fact, this is exactly what I'm pushing through right now. In fact, follow this, lots of in facts, what the hell was I thinking? Follow this DVD where I share with you the exact system that I use in my business, where I've been able to go from next to nothing, like I was saying, to 140 grand in 5.5 months. Yes, 5.5 months. I work with women who run their own businesses, entrepreneurial women and authors who are ready to take their business, to have their businesses give them back the rush they used to have and kick their way up to the next level in business. Blah, 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 blah. So that's the DVD right there. And that's like baby Nicola. Check that out. Copyright 2012. Oh my God. So this was the campaign. I didn't produce it on DVD until later on in that year, that I ended up getting so many leads from this particular campaign. I also launched that was later. So I got so many leads from this particular campaign. And in fact, what happened come May 2012, I'd had my first $30,000 month. So I'd gone from next to nothing to like literally kind of putting all on the line, just going, come on God, like this has got to fucking work, otherwise I'm absolutely done for. And this is what happened, and it worked. I mean, there was a whole lot of effort. It wasn't just putting the call out to God or the universe and then expecting that everything was going to come in, right? I mean, you can see the photos if you go back and you have a look at the photos that I posted earlier today of that office. You can see it was like a freaking madness mess of freakish volume amounts of activity and effort going in there. It's funny, there's one of the photos, it's got the clock in it and the clock is 7:10. I'm like, well, I was in my office every morning before 7, and I was definitely in my office every night, after 7. So I don't actually know if that was even a morning photo or a night photo. And there was no windows in the office because it was kind of like, it was an old laundry that had been renovated and added into the house. So there was no natural light. So I have no clue when that was actually, what time of the day that was actually taken. But it was like a really great snapshot of this is what I lived in. So consequently, like, I guess, like, for the rest of that year, I rolled off the back of this campaign. I got more and more one-on-one clients, and then I ran out of time quite promptly. And that was when I started doing online programs and things like that, which was really when I started to really kind of hit the straps. I tapped out at 140 grand in that 5.5 months. So it was that May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, so that took us through to about October, which was when I shifted to running 8-week programs and that kind of thing. And then everything just kind of skyrocketed from there. So then what happened was I remember sitting at a retreat and we were writing out our ideal perfect days. And I remember, I've got a photo, I'll share it with you guys in here, like, over the next few days. Saw a photo, I drove past this house and I was like, oh man, I'd love to be here. I'd love to live there. And then just kind of like let it go. It's quite an iconic house in this area. And I remember being on this retreat and we were writing out what our ideal day looked like. And I was like, we're living in this house. We're living in that house that's, I don't think it's for sale anymore. I know it was for sale quite a number of years earlier. And so I wrote out all about it. I wrote what I was doing every day. I wrote in the support. And I got home from that retreat. There was a fucking for sale sign back out the front of this house because it had been on the market, but the signs had been taken down. By the time I'd come back, the for sale sign was out the front. I'm like, that's not a sign. I don't know what is. So my office is a little messy today, but I thought that I would show you what it looks like. And now that the house has been freshly cleaned. So I'm just in the process of reorganizing stuff. So these are still the lights that you can see in that very initial photo. But there's my little hub where I sit and work now, right? And I've still got like the things that I still do, like you'll see in the photos from what I shared earlier, like I'm really quite visual. I've got my nuts over there, a candle that smells really lovely. And then I've got the things on there that are really important to me. I've still got my whiteboard, except rather than a whiteboard, I've got a whiteboard wall and we keep these doors shut. I wasn't quite planning on giving you the full tour. There's all of that stuff. Like, look, there's a prized unicorn, like stuff in there as well. So I guess like what I really wanted to share with you today is not so much around the not so much around the environment is really important, and I would declutter that space. But you can imagine in a 3 meters by 1.5 meter space, to try and contain our creativity and our genius and everything else, it can be really quite hard, right? I reckon. And I think that number one, the things that we need to really embrace, Catherine, you're saying this is where you're at now. I totally, I get it, obviously. The things that we really want to remember is number one, and what I've really learned and has been really hammered home, and I'm so glad that I've been reminded of this reminder in the last couple of days, is that if in order to be successful, we've got to keep getting back up. And to me, it's kind of like, it's not until, not necessarily, but sometimes it can be where we kind of like, we've got to kind of like let go and let God. And we've got to be able to just say, you know what, okay, like I'm going to do my bit. And if this is what, like, put the call out there, like if this is what you need me to do, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, universe, then I'm going to do what needs to happen. But you've got to pull your side as well, right? And I think there is an actual thing about really declaring that. And there was another time where this happened for me, and it all kind of came through. It all just started. It just worked. It was actually early last year, and I'd had a massive tax bill, and which is a great problem to have, right? Big tax bill that had come due, and I had to pay it by the 11th of May or whatever that tax due date is, last year, and I had no money. Like, I had the money that had been coming in from the business. I've talked extensively about the reasons for scaling back the business, and from family reasons to also I couldn't possibly sell something anymore that didn't light me up, that didn't fill me with absolute joy, like the work I love in the way I love doing it. Like, it wasn't ticking those boxes. So I'd had this big tax bill that was due in the end, like May last year. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to pay it. I actually had a conversation with my accountant and I said, look, what are the ramifications if I don't pay this? You know, can I go bankrupt? Do I dissolve the business? Can I start a new company? Can I, like, what are the options here? Like, what are the freaking options? Because like, I just like selling my house. Like, do I have to sell the house? Like, what are the literal, I needed the factual options. So this conversation happened in March 2000, what year are we? March 2018. And the conversation went is like, well, yeah, you can, but there are ramifications and yada, 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 yada. And I've just gone, okay, that's great. I mean, you guys, like, we'll talk about money management in depth on a whole other day. But it's really important that you're putting half of what you earn, even when you can't afford it. Put half of what you're making away for tax. Just have that as an automatic thing. It's just like, yep, that's tax. Yep, that's tax. And then don't fucking touch it. So anyway, that's a whole other, we'll talk about that another day. And then, so it got to the point in March where I'm like, holy shit, like I've got this really big, like $70,000 problem here, $75,000 problem. It's like, how do I mitigate this? What do I do? And it got to the point again where I was just like, all right, you know, if this is the best use of me, and if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, God, universe, source, like in this instance, I think I probably said universe. Universe, if this is what I'm supposed to be doing, then like I'm doing everything that I can. You've got to give me a fucking sign. Like I'll do what I need to do, but give me a sign. And then the funniest thing happened. I had a client, sorry, not a client yet. I had a person that I'd been in discussion with from December the previous year, who then I spoke again in February, and he actually said no. It was a corporate client, and he said no, not moving forward, not going ahead. And I'd had a $60,000 proposal in to do it. It was a lot of work, to do a lot of work with this corporate client. And he said to me, he's like, no, we're not going to do it. We've got some stuff. I've gone, okay, no worries at all. Out of the blue, through no prompting of anything, he's emailed me not long after I've gone, if I can't pull this off, like I'm fucked type thing, I'm going to have to go get a job and then pay off this tax debt, and, you know, then I'm going to be working for nothing, and all that kind of thing. This guy's come in and he said, like, yep, okay, I've decided to move ahead with you. How do we pay you? And I'd given him options of either paying by the month or paying up front and getting a bit of a discount if he decided to pay up front. And he's like, yep, if we're saving money, I'm going to pay you up front. And I was just like, fuck. So that happened in April. So it all came in. I had the money to pay tax, and, you know, I'm still in the freaking game. So I think that there is something in this, like asking, like being in that position where you're kind of like asking and just saying, you know what, I need a sign, I need something to come through, and then taking the action and then fully trusting that, okay, you know what, if this doesn't work, then that's okay. I'll go and do something different, but I just trust that it's all going to pan out exactly the way that it's supposed to. And that's what happened with this campaign, although it was delivered by DVD at the time. It's what happened with that corporate client. Hey Becca, happy United States girl. So jealous right now. Miss California. It's that kind of thing where like there is a thing where you're like, you've got to really let go of control and be okay with whatever it is that comes through. Be okay with whatever the results are that come up and out of all of this. The second really key thing that I can absolutely say has really helped along the way is the being really fucking clear about what you want and how it's going to look once you've got it, and writing that down, writing that in. There's a reason why we're living in this house. There's a reason why we have the lifestyle that we do. There's a reason why I have the clients that I have who are fucking rock stars, and they are amazing, and they are so inspiring, and they motivate and inspire me every day just by being them and by being so badass and amazing. And it sounds like a bit like a love fest at the moment, but that's literally how it is. So if you're having a tough time trying to build this business, then one thing that you can do is write out what it's going to look like when it all works. You know, how are you feeling? What are you doing? What are you looking like? What's around you? Who's around you? What are you doing? The second thing that I want you to have a look at is if this was your last ditch effort, like if this is literally your last ditch effort campaign, if this is your last ditch effort course, if this is your last ditch effort Facebook campaign, if this is your last ditch go at making this work, what are you willing to do? And I'm not talking about, you know, selling your soul to the devil or, you know, going out on a street corner or anything. Like, I mean, if that's what you want to do, then that's your call. Is, you know, there's no judgment. But I'm not saying that you have to put yourself, your family at risk or in danger. I don't think that that's right. But you've got to work out for you. Like, if this was my last ditch effort campaign, what would I be doing? And who am I going to call in? Who am I wanting to bring in? Who am I wanting to call in? And then you've got to be okay with understanding that there is also the law of lag. Okay, so sometimes these things can happen like really fucking quickly and it'll make your head spin, right? And then other times it can take some months of this consistently, okay, this is my last ditch effort campaign. Again, like if this is the last thing that I ever produce, like what's the best, most amazing thing that I could possibly produce right now for my audience that would help them, that would help move them one step forward. And if this is my last ditch effort, like what am I going to put out there? Imagine that this is your legacy piece of content. Imagine that this is your legacy piece of training, your legacy piece of education, your legacy piece of motivation, inspiration, transformation, whatever it is, and create from that space, right? Because that kind of changes the tone. Like you're going to be so incredibly fucking generous in that piece, which is so important, you guys. You're going to be really giving. You're just going to be so like, how much value can I put in this? Like, this is freaking awesome. And you know what? If no one buys, I know that I've put something really fucking valuable out into the world, and I'm really damn proud of what I've just created. That's the kind of energy that we almost need to be putting into every single program that we create, every offer we create, every free thing we create. I had a question earlier this week from a lady who asked the question of what do you do? Like, what's the line? Like, how much do you give and how much do you hold back? And at what point do you say, like, hang on, you guys, like, that's enough now. You're kind of taking the piss. Like, you've got to buy from me or fuck off type thing. To me, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna give you guys, I'm gonna talk to you guys about everything. Like, if you've got questions, I'll answer them for you. I don't believe, and in our free things, you know, we give as much as we possibly can. Now, there may be some levels of a line that you might draw. So, for example, if you know that there's 4 main big picture steps that you step your people through in whatever it is that you do, right? And you know that each of those steps have got like 7 sub-steps. Like, you're not going to go out for free and say like, hey, like this is the major step and then these are the 7 steps. You might allude to it or say like there's a whole lot more that you need to go deeper on, but you know, these are the 4 main things that you need to look at. You know, just answer all of the questions. Just be incredibly generous. Again, come back to that. You know what, if this is the last thing that I possibly ever do, if this is the last question I could possibly answer, then, you know, just go out and do it to the best of your ability. Because if you think about it, the thing that is missing and the thing that most people will pay for is personalization, and they will pay for accountability, right? So support and personalization. So I give, like, I talk to you guys a lot, right? I'm really open about all of that. And I know that for some of you, I've had clients before they become clients of mine, go to my website, make $250,000, like literally $250,000 from all of the free stuff that I've had on my website, and then come and say, I loved all of that. I got so much value from that. Now I want to pay you. How do I pay you? I had another client last year actually say to me, like, I've been following you for so long. I've been on your coffee runs. I've been doing all of this stuff. I've been implementing the things. I felt like I had to give back. I felt like I had to come to this event because, you know, you just keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And like, so like the natural consequence is that I have to come and like learn more in a deeper level, right? So don't ever be afraid that you're giving too much. Don't ever be afraid that you've got to censor yourself. Like, I mean, if you're giving away the box of dice and like I don't know, spending 5 hours on a live stream helping people troubleshoot, then that's a different story. But from a free thing perspective, think about if you're in that position where things really have to work, then just consider, wow, like if this is the last ditch effort, if this is the last possible thing that I have to leave in this environment so that before you go and do something else, and what would you create and how could you add the most value? Get there and create that and give it a last ditch effort and see what happens. Not promising you that the miracle will happen and that everything will start to work and that you'll have a $30,000 month, or that you'll have 140 grand in 5.5 months, or that you do $1 million in sales, or you do 118 grand in sales in a week, which is why I got that tattoo, like that tattoo there. This is the girl from that tiny little office, right? That's my $118,000 tattoo. I did 118 grand in sales in a week, 5 days actually. It's pretty, it's just like, I even think about it now and it blows my mind, and it kind of makes me a little bit giggly, and if it hadn't happened to me, I'd almost not believe it, right? Like it is from coming from that struggle place. It's really interesting how quickly really all of that stuff played out. So that 118 grand happened within 11 months of the Last Ditch Effort campaign, right? It's pretty fucking amazing. So that's the best thing that I can suggest to you. The other thing actually that I really want you to do is take photos of where you're at right now, of your office, of how things are working. Get your husband, your partner, your kid, whatever, auntie, uncle, grandmother, parent, whoever, cat, set the fucking timer on a tripod. Take photos of you being in your space now, because this is part of the kind of like the catalog, almost like the catalog of evidence of where you are now, that'll show where you've been, and then the transformation of where it is that you're going. And as I said, in April 2012, if you'd said that we'd be living really in the house of our dreams, minus the beach, right, and the ocean, just to be really clear about that, we're living in the house of our dreams, working with people that I love, doing the work I love in the way that I love to do it. If you'd said, and making the money that we make, if you'd said in 2012 that this would all be possible, I would have not believed you. I would have hoped to God that it would be real, but I would not have believed you pre-April 2012. So the magic works. The magic is there. Write stuff down. Do your last ditch effort campaigns. Don't hold back on the value that you're putting out there, and make sure you're documenting what you're going through now by way of photos and by just sharing where you're at. All right, everyone. So there you go. Have a really kick-ass and amazing day. Now, just to let you know, something that's coming up, it's really interesting that I found these photos yesterday, because as I was journaling today, I've just gone like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I need to create a course that helps startup people. So I've just put some, it's just kind of like journaling. It hasn't formed yet. It's not fully formed. It's kind of a zygote. The idea has been fertilized. It is in zygote stage to be transformed into a fetus, I would suggest, probably later on today, maybe tomorrow. But that will be birthed into the world. That's all a bit graphic, isn't it? Birthed into the world, probably it won't be kicking and screaming. It will be laughing and smiling and ever so cuddly and amazing and fabulous, particularly for startups. So I've written, what I wrote in my journal this morning was that the badass business for startups who want to be seen, heard, motivate, and inspire the masses. So keep your eyes out for that over the next few days. It just, like I said, it blows my mind how this stuff works, and I just think it's brilliant. I think everybody should be a part of it. So there you go, everybody. Have a great day. Get out there, go help some people. Have fun doing it. And remember, the world is ready for your brand of awesomeness. Take care. I love you. Talk to you tomorrow.